And now on the line from Kenya is Brynne Gilmore from the Centre for Global Health at Trinity College and the Irish Forum for Global Health. Brynne, welcome to the programme.
Hi, thank you, Darren, very much for having me.
Okay, cool. Brynne, we last spoke 4 years ago. Can you first of all tell our listeners what you are doing in Kenya? I understand you are working in the country, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm doing a research project here. So I'm partnering with Concern Worldwide, so an Irish NGO that many of you are probably familiar with. And I'm working on one of their community health projects. It's a grant that's funded by the Irish Research Council under the Marie Curie Caroline program. So I'm here for 2 years, 1 year down already, working with Concern to understand more about their community health programming.
Oh, cool. And what kind of health are you focusing on?
Yeah, we're focusing on several different aspects, actually. We're looking at how a community engagement strategy helps for behavior change. So we're looking at how a community group and community network can help facilitate behavior change for health across different sites within Marsabit County. So Marsabit is one of the ASL, so the arid and semi-arid regions of Kenya, which has some pretty poor health indicators for some areas, especially things like WASH and maternal and child health. So we're focusing on one of the behaviors we're actually looking at is sanitation and hygiene, so hand-washing behaviors, which is very closely linked to toilets and obviously World Toilet Day. And then we're also looking at appropriate care seeking for children. So if children are sick with diarrhea, pneumonia, malaria, how caregivers then respond to that illness.
So you're living in Kenya for the last year, yeah? And you've a year left?
Yeah, pretty much since February. Exactly.
Have you enjoyed your time so far over there?
Yeah, it's great. The work's going really well. It's super busy. And Kenya is a great place to be. So I spend some of my time in Nairobi, which is a really fun, lively city. And then a lot of my time here in Marsabit, which is a lot closer to the work. And it's a great city, very welcoming. It's a great place to be.
So you're based in a city, you're not based in a rural area, no?
Based in a town, so Marsabit town, but then we travel out to the site. So Marsabit town isn't rural itself, but most of our sites that we work in are very rural. So I'll travel and spend a week or 2 weeks at a time there and then go to another site. So I spend about 50% of my time in the rural site.
That's very interesting. I'd like to talk to you after you come back maybe to Ireland, have an interview talking about how you got on in Kenya, and the work that you did or you're doing.
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Brynne, to move on to talk about World Toilet Day 2018, can you remind our listeners as to why the annual World Toilet Day is an important day?
Yeah, so worldwide, there are millions of people that lack access to appropriate sanitation facilities, and specifically toilets. But I think often toilets, it's not a very attractive development cause, so to speak. We're talking about where people defecate and go to the washroom, and though everybody does it, it's not always the most attractive thing to discuss and even fund and give money to. So World Toilet Day is really important to kind of shine light on this really important issue of the fact that, so many people get sick every single year because they don't have access to clean facilities. And also really important, the importance of dignity when we're talking about life and health and so having a toilet, having a safe space, having a clean space to go to the washroom. And so World Toilet Day is helping to raise awareness on this and then also celebrate successes. And I was actually in just North Hore, which is a very rural site, last week, and one of the villages was celebrating on World Toilet Day, they were having a big party because they've been 1 year ODS, or OD free, so open defecation free. So the Ministry of Health and a bunch of other NGOs and partners were actually going to this village to hold a celebration, to celebrate how far the community has come, going from having very few toilets to now they've been declared open defecation free for a year now. So it's also a chance to celebrate the successes that people are making in terms of sanitation and hygiene.
And huge news on this issue internationally is that the Prime Minister of India has, in the last couple of years, really prioritised this issue, hasn't he, in his country?
I think so. I wouldn't be as familiar with work going on in India, but I think, and I think a lot of people recognize, obviously, the importance of having toilets, and not only for individual health, but animal health and disease prevention. You know, we're coming up to rainy season. Well, it should be happening here already. It's a little behind in Marsabit, and a lot of the sites I work in, there's not a toilet in sight. Everybody open defecates. So when you think about rainy season and what happens with all that feces, and livestock here is so important. So we think about what's going to happen with all that, and to stop disease spreading. So I think it's a really smart and strategic move for countries to also prioritize having toilets for all their citizens. Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that in recent years, with social media, that the issue of lack of toilets and sanitation, and for a lot of people in developing countries, it's getting more coverage?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think especially, you definitely see more campaigns, especially around World Toilet Day and stuff like that. But I think there's still the issue that a lot of the people that don't have toilets are still being left out of this communication. Toilets often goes hand in hand with socioeconomic status, meaning that the more money you have, the more likely you are to have a toilet. So, a lot of people that don't have toilets might also be left out of these social media discussions because they might not have network coverage, they might not have a smartphone, they might not have the literacy skills to be able to participate in social media. So I do think that it is expanding, but I think we still have to make sure that, the people that are mostly affected by not having toilets are being included within these discussions and celebrations.
RTE had an article on their website last week talking about the issue. That's the first time I think I've ever seen an article on the RTE website talking about toilets and sanitation.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Okay.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Okay, Brynne, is there anything else you want to say to our listeners in Dublin before you go?
Just, don't take your toilet for granted. There's a lot of people working really hard to, have a toilet in their community, in their village, in their household. And there's lots of ways that people can support these initiatives. So, reaching out to other NGOs, seeing what they're doing on the issue. Irish Aid frequently does their white paper consultations for their development agenda. So making sure that we don't leave things like water and sanitation off of country development agendas, and just learning more about it and learning more how, a third of the world's population lives, educating ourselves. And I think that's the best thing that we can do. And I would just encourage people to continue doing that. Yep.